friends of the community show, welcome to yet another episode of this community show. Like I always do, I give you a brief background for those who are joining us for the first time. The community show is a show that is tailored around ideas and conversations that affect your community directly. So if you have any emerging issues that affect your community directly, please feel free to reach out to us. We shall endeavor to have this conversation brought to the limelight of the public and therefore to the stakeholders and the powers that there be, so they can listen to the cries and challenges that people face at community level. Well, today the particular conversation that we are going to center around is regarding the closure of Facebook and how this affects businesses of young people in Uganda. We know that with the high unemployment rates in Uganda, many of our young people, after successfully going through the education system, which many have described as being colonial in nature and not fitting with the prevailing circumstances and challenges of our time, end up not finding jobs or end up not finding formal employment within this country. Many have resorted into labor externalization, where they go to work in the Middle East as maybe maids and askaris, and really do semi-skilled and low-earning jobs, which has over time exposed them to various levels of insecurity. But there are also a group of Ugandans, young Ugandans, who have decided that, yes, we shall not look for formal jobs. We shall not go to Oman to work as maids. We shall try to work within Uganda and embrace the emerging technologies, because we are in the information age. And therefore, we shall take advantage of emerging technologies to earn a living and make some money. But to their dismay and to their a disappointment, platforms that they were enjoying, like Facebook, have ever since been closed. I think for now, it's close to more than a year, a couple of months, down the road, Facebook remains closed. And even when we use VPN, it comes with its challenges. Platforms like WhatsApp and Twitter that are still accessible, the taxation on data still remains quite high, and young people have continued to clamor and agitate that why should there be a 12% tax on data? If indeed our country is trying to encourage young people to move towards the information age and to find self-employment, then they should encourage them to engage online. Well, that is just my own view, but to enable us appreciate this conversation, I'm joined by a panel of so far 2 ladies and a gentleman that I shall introduce and also ask them to say anything more about themselves. The first is Viola Amumpaire. Viola is the founder and CEO of WENA. Viola, you're most welcome. Please turn on your video and audio and say hello to our viewers, but also you can further introduce yourself. Viola, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. My name is Viola Amumpaire. I am a founder and CEO of WENAhardware.com. WENA is an online hardware store for construction materials. Thank you for having me today.
Okay, thank you very much, Viola. I now go ahead to introduce Mr. Derek Mugabe. Derek is a communications personnel and social media handler. Derek, many thanks for joining us. You're welcome.
Hello, Ms. Akidega. Thank you for the opportunity today. I'm Derek Mugabe, like he has said, and I'm the CEO for Barrel Sips and Bites. We do natural fresh juice and snacks. On the other 9 to 5-ish, I handle social media platforms for 3 organizations. They are disability and mental health based. Thank you.
Wow, I love it that you're doing something with the community. That is very convincing. The third panelist who has joined us is Comrade Lucky Ninsima. Lucky is an agripreneur and CEO of Zion Wanyama Farm Limited. You are most welcome, Lucky, and please say hello to our viewers.
Thank you, Moses, for having me today. My name is Lucky Ninsima. I'm an agripreneur, a farmer. So agripreneur basically is farming and business. So I am the CEO, Zion Wanyama Farm Limited, based in Rentuha, Bushenyi, Uganda. That's the western part of this country. Thank you for having me.
Wow, many thanks. We hope that the fourth panelist will join us along the way, and when they do, I shall surely introduce them and ask them to fit into the conversation. Comrades, let me just start it straight away. Let me give you all a chance to give us a background and how you are at individual level are affected by the closure of Facebook. Two, on the high taxes that are still levied on data. You all, one way or another, either do your business online or you are involved in online, enterprise. So let's just pick your mind. I know later we shall talk about digital rights in Uganda, but that is for slightly a later time. But for now, let me just understand from you how this situation has affected you and affected your work at individual level. And Lucky, let me just begin with you since you spoke most recently. What's your own take and what's your own situation?
Thank you so much. I, for one, the Facebook closure, first and foremost, without beating around the bush, that's a violation of the digital rights. There is no way you can deny the whole country the right to do digital economy and the freedom to organize and meet online. I'll use the perspective from the Western country, where most of us are farmers, and I deal in agriculture. When you talk to a person, a rural person, and you tell them, I'm on internet, the only thing they think about internet is Facebook. That's the only thing they know is internet. So actually, when you hear, I put this on, it's online, you're like, so it's on Facebook. They don't know about all the other platforms. And that's our target market. Farming, most farmers are on Facebook because it's easy and it has the biggest numbers of the population. So when Facebook is closed, there is no way I'm going to reach to my customer who is a farmer and who is in the village, whose understanding of internet is Facebook, and now they are off. I, for one, don't like VPN. I know we have an option of going through the VPN and all that. I, for one, don't like it. One, it takes a lot of time to connect. It's not a straightforward connection. It's not like once you click on VPN, you're automatically on Facebook. No, you have to go through a process. It has to connect you or disconnect you. Then in the middle of a conversation, you find that your VPN has already knocked you out. So you can't continue the conversation. It has really led to a great loss in business. Because in this digital era, whereby business is conducted online, especially we learned that during the lockdown and the COVID times when we couldn't meet and converge. So everything went digital. But we Ugandans, we are denied that right up to now. I even wonder why, because I really don't understand it, honestly. I think by the end of the conversation, I would have learned a lot from my fellow panelists, because I don't understand why we can't meet on Facebook. First of all, we can't do a Facebook Live conversation, especially to sensitize the masses about the new products, about the agriculture services, the best practices to use, because there is no one that is going to access the platform. Yet this is where most people are. We can't come up with the new innovations and new ideas and share them publicly. We keep everything to ourselves because our target market is locked out. It's such a pain to the public. It is such a pain to us who do business online. It is such a pain to a young economy, whereby we are trying to thrive. Because in this digital era, I'm trying to grab as much as I can the attention towards the market, but then I'm broke. It's actually a painful situation for everyone doing digital marketing, and that's the way to go. We have so far moved so far away from this marketing of I will stand by the roadside and wait for the next customer. No, people will bypass you. They're like, oh, who is this? Is this the thug? They will try to Google you. Every time you tell someone, I'm Lucky Nisima, they just go on Google. Who is Lucky Nisima? But then how shall we be known when we can't access the platform? That's my pain regarding this situation that we are in. So I don't know, but it's a brokerage. We've been broked. And we are the young entrepreneurs who are suffering most. Because we are not yet established. You can't easily identify us like those old people who have been in business for long, that, you know, if I want this, I would just move to this street next on the plot number this. But here we are trying to thrive, but then we are blocked. That's my take. I submit.
All right. Thank you very much, Lucky. You've only addressed my mind to a fact that I did not know, that many farmers of today are online and are using Facebook and online platforms. I didn't know that. My mind was still stuck to the ordinary and traditional farmer who really has no business with online platforms, but rather simply go to their farm, harvest, plant, and look for a tractor to transport their goods to the main market, and that is it. But I guess I've learned that from you. Let's hear from you, Comrade Derek Mugabe. Derek, let's hear your own perspective and how this whole Facebook thing and this whole data tax has really affected you as a person and in your line of work.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kidega, and thank you, Madam Lucky. I mean, I'm getting inspirations. I, for one, run a natural fresh juice business, and I think after here I'll have to talk to Lucky about a lot of other things, because I feel like we share a lot. So, I mean, like she said, my sales have been affected directly, because when I was starting the business 2.5 years ago, my main target was Facebook. So I was making posts on my social media and people were reaching out and telling me, you know, Derek, you're running this, and I was inviting them to follow. And then shortly after a year, I'm beginning to stabilize, and kaboom, you know, the president, like, they closed down Facebook, and then they tell us the UCC was saying they are working on improving its operations in Uganda. Then the government, someone was saying it's so lethal because they had blocked the pro-government accounts. And it really, like, I did not understand. I mean, how do you not address the plight of young people in Uganda who are thriving off social media in different ways? They are running businesses, some are influencers, some are handling social media accounts of people. I mean, literally, we a bit got rendered useless and jobless at a certain point. I lost a couple gigs because they were always Facebook based. That was the first direct impact. And when it came to my personal business, it was very tough now, because this was a business that was rotating around me, making posts, you know, I can do this juice, because this is a thing I do after my 9 to 5. I'll wake up in the morning, that's like 4 a.m. I make like 10 liters of juice that are already pre-ordered for, because at that moment I was not running a shop. So, and then I'll go with them to work in the morning, I put them in the fridge, and then at 10 a.m. in my break lunch, and then I'll get about the guy who will deliver that. Now it is hard. So my business has been constrained to people who know my business, like personal friends. So I had to shift now from Facebook and start running it like WhatsApp based. You know, you post on your status, you know, do this juice. So in the long run, I keep within, it has to be a like very big business. Yes, we do appreciate it, but it's not very big business. We keep within 5-10 liters. If you've gone ahead, that is 20 liters. I'm not doing as many functions as I used to do back in the days. And here I am right now competing with people who have been in this juice business for a very long time. Like, we have someone called I think it's the Laos Juice. He has been in the business for 10 years and he has done Facebook marketing for long. And here I am, 2 years old. I cannot even do Facebook anymore. And he claims, and he makes it clear during our juice meetings, the Juice Association meetings, that he has gathered most of these off his Facebook. So here I am, I'm young, trying to compete and be in line, earn, and then employ more young people. But yet my production is low, which means my target, my projections have all been tampered with right about now. And so it is not good for the continuity of my business, because I mean, Facebook has been #1 platform used in Uganda, but we have seen it drop from, it used to be 2.5, around 2.7 million users of the entire population, and now it's been dropping. Now we are having the TikTok's trending top, we are having WhatsApp, we are having Twitter. And when you look at this, like Twitter is a bit different now when I switch into the digital rights that Mr. Kidega talking about later. I mean, let me use an example because I do a lot of community work. There's a project we have been running where we go to communities and then we train mothers of children with disabilities because most of them are abandoned by the fathers of the children. An example is a child with cerebral palsy who cannot move, who cannot do anything. So it means the mother is so constrained to only taking care of this child. So you get in line as an organization, then you teach them how to do crafts, for example, or how to make liquid soap and all that. And then me as a communications personnel of the organization, my task is to teach them how to market themselves. And the number one marketing opportunity, because they're not mobile, I mean, they're constrained to taking care of the child, is Facebook. I mean, it is easy for them to deal with. It is easy for them to relate with, you know. So like these are what they always call, is it phone agronomics or something. So it is easy, it is user friendly. And now I have been training these mothers to use Facebook to market their products, to market their liquid soap to the entire population out there for people to support. And Facebook is blocked. So sometimes you go back to the community and the skill you have given to this woman with a child who's disabled, I just seated there with it. I mean, they have the products, but there is nowhere to market them. So we like you confused on what now to tell them. You will not tell them to move. I mean, they cannot carry the child on their backs because some of these children are heavy, they have needs, they won't be basking in the sun and all that. So Facebook closure has really affected us back to back, and it has really pushed us afar. So you have to have a website right now. If you really, like me in the juice business, you have to run a fully functional website. And we all know this comes with extra costs already. So now you're battling already with a taxation, with a high data costs. And now if you have to thrive out there, if you have to do your SEO, you have to really be running a website to get a market. And I mean, like we are small scale business runners. So if you find yourself having to compete with Jumia, yet at a certain point we might have a different audience that we can garner off social media, it is really so disturbing. You look at yourself not progressing in the long run, you know. And then I've during the lockdown, I was talking to a lot of my fellow young people because I do a lot of mental health advocacy as well. So I was talking to them, and then they were telling me, you know, they were posting things on Facebook, you know, joining a lot of different challenges. And I told them, you know what, I'm running my business off Facebook. Most of the customers I'm getting are off Facebook. So if you could switch from posting, you can also post your personal lives, your swag, and then you have fun as well. But you can run something that can sustain you, because I mean, young people would reach out to you, you know, we are starving, we are doing this. I'm like, what are you passionate about? What can you do with yourself? So I remember a particular friend whom I inspired, and then he started selling shoes off social media, of Facebook. So what he would do is go into downtown, buy a couple pairs or a whole dozen of them from a loan from his certain family member, post them on social media, and people would order, you put them on a border, and then people buy. And right now, like, he had grown up, he was so close to a level of owning a shop, and he cannot do it right now. Because I mean, the number one marketing strategy which he had, I mean, yeah, he cannot afford the rent he was about to, but now he cannot afford anymore. So he says, I mean, he had to close down, and now I don't know what he's been up to, actually. I should check on him. But that is how far much more Facebook closure has affected us. And there is another friend as well who started a welding something. And all this, like, as young people, we find it easy for us, just like Nisima said, things have shifted. We cannot be on the roadside every day. Like, look at me right now. I have to run a 9 to 5 p.m. job, because that is where I get the capital that I'm investing back here in the juice. Until the juice is sustainable, I cannot leave the 9 to 5. So which means if I cannot market my juice on social media, I will as well not have the time to maybe go in a market and, you know, vendor my juice person to person, you know, this is my katunda, it is nice, you know, I have a mixed ABC up to Z, because I have to run the 9 to 5 from where I have to get money. So it has really affected us. I used to work with a total of up to 4 people every time I had an event, and I would pride myself in working with fellow young people, inspiring them, teaching them my skill. But now I cannot pass on my skill anymore. I cannot teach them how I do this business to inspire them to do it as well and thrive and support their families and other young people like I'm trying, because my production scale is low because I cannot market myself on Facebook. So on to wrap it up, that is how I have been like very affected. And I just forgot, even information dissemination to on the other side of the rights, like we said, has been tampered with. I cannot, you know, we used to also have people funding us and fundraising on Facebook for our different organizations to support our mothers, to support persons with disabilities, those with mental health challenges. You know, like I've seen people post of how they are, for example, depressed on Twitter, and the backlash they receive. I think at a certain point, some have had to end their lives because, I mean, someone like makes a suicidal tweet and people are just telling the person, you know, if you're tired, just kill yourself, which is not the way to go, which was a bit different with Facebook. I mean to say it's a bit traditional and it's been a bit kind. So even on the other side of the rights, Facebook closure has really affected us very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Derek. Let's hear from Viola. Viola Amumpaire, you've heard what our 2 comrades have said. I will definitely have follow-up questions for them. But for now, let us just pick your own view regarding the current predicament.
Thank you so much. Interestingly, Facebook is, to so many other people that are not in digital marketing or e-commerce or online businesses, consider Facebook to be an option. And yet to most businesses, it is the primary pivot of their business. Or if I'm to put it correctly, some businesses only existed on Facebook. And therefore closing Facebook access in Uganda meant that people are not able to access any of these. Therefore, closing businesses meant that so many businesses can no longer run, can no longer reach their target audiences, can no longer, do business as efficiently as they used to. Also to note, our digital marketing or use of platforms like Facebook is the cheapest way that anybody can start and run a business. Therefore, having no access to Facebook means that so many businesses have to invest more capital for them to be able to run, for them to be able to reach customers. If I'm to put numbers to what I mean is, for every $10 on Facebook, you're able to reach about 1,000 to 2,000 people. That is depending on what item you're selling. But if I'm to use 10,000, if I'm to use $10, I don't think there is any other form of advertisement that I can use currently in Uganda to be able to reach the same number of people. So it means that it is very expensive for people who are starting out businesses, but also to operate a business in a small market like Uganda, you would need so much money to invest in a business, yet the market is very small. So a platform like Facebook helps entrepreneurs, both those starting out and those who are in businesses, to be able to run businesses efficiently and affordably. As a person who runs an e-commerce shop, I live with a lot on social media platforms. I majorly on Facebook because Facebook is the platform that brings different people of different age groups to be able to get attention that we need them to get about our products, about our services. I'll take an example of platforms like Instagram. Instagram for so long has been known for fashion, beauty, and therefore it has been attracting more of the younger demographics as opposed to Facebook. So for someone like me who deals in construction materials, I would definitely not be targeting young people. I would instead be looking out for a platform that has old people, people who have the know-how on how to use online platforms. So for me, my target would be using Facebook to reach out to people and also to directly buy off the website. And if I do not have access to Facebook, it means that I don't actually have access to the target audience or to the customers that I would be targeting. So the denial for people, for Ugandans to access Facebook freely without the use of VPN is really making it very expensive. I know most of us have had the experience of using VPN, and we know how much VPN is such an inconvenience, but also how much data you need once you're running VPN. So if I was using 100 MBs to access something, it means now I need double the or triple that same data for me to just be on Facebook for a few minutes. Therefore, so many people will opt not to use the VPN. And it means that as a business owner, I am losing out on a possible target, on a possible customer that would be buying from me. And they've just missed out on getting to know what maybe item is on promotion, or just getting to know what items I'm actually selling. And for me, that is not correct. That is such a hindrance to business growth and to our revenues as business owners. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Viola, for that. I see someone has joined us by the name of Esa. I wonder if that's the fourth panelist, but if it is, kindly share with me a direct message, and then I will give you an opportunity. Derek, let me come back to you straight away. Isn't it limiting for us young people to only look at Facebook or look at one platform as the major marketing or major advertising platform that we can use? And this is in line with Facebook. I feel like we have become slightly rigid as young people to the extent that we are focusing only on Facebook and not looking at other creative means of doing or achieving the same target. That is one. But also, what stops us from being innovative enough to create other domestic or local platforms? I know for sure that in China, they do not even use Facebook as a means of as a social media platform. They have their own domestically tailored WeChat. So aren't we not thinking outside the box? Aren't we being rigid in our thinking, in that we are focusing only on Facebook as the only means towards leveraging the digital platforms? So shouldn't we think outside the box and maybe find other possible options?
Oh yeah, I get you. Thank you for that question. Yeah, I've known many young people in Uganda for being creative, and I think some of them have come up with social media platforms. I'm not sure if the social media platforms have gone through or they've just been for the fun sake of it. But then, in my perspective, I think it is good for us to leverage on existing platforms that already have the markets, because number one, we know they are legit. For example, just like Viola said, you use $1 and you're sure this is how big your reach is going to be. You understand? And then on the other way, like when you ask if we are not thinking outside of the box, yes, we are trying. Like she said, actually, Viola made some things clear. People know Instagram for fashion and for being, people are out there using filters and all that. So like I've actually even seen memes going around, people claim, I'm done with all my outfits, so what else do I have to post on Instagram? So people who buy things off Instagram to begin with are people who are into glam, into like socialites and that kind of fun. But when you want to market things, like she said, her building materials, she can look at young people. But I mean, if you ask in the next 10 young people next to you, how many of them are into building their own house right now? because to begin with, you're not sure if all of them are receiving a minimum wage. To begin with, you're not sure if all of them are employed, if they can even afford to foot their own cost of living. You know, we've seen things like everything has been like the prices of everything have been hiking. So you're not sure if someone even had a good meal. And we are young, we are struggling. So her target audience and my target audience can be different, you know? So maybe I could use Instagram because I run a juice business, and I mean, people are having functions, kucharas are everywhere. I mean, I think about kuchara, and maybe different, you know, and agriculture could be a bit different. So I think we try to think outside of the box and try different marketing strategies, but the thing is already established as they are, like to begin with Facebook. The other question when you said if it is the only means, no, it is not the only means, but then it expands our scope of things, you know, like I told you, like when we are in the community, like I've been in a community of refugees. So we've been to a refugee camp and we have trained all of them how to use smartphones. So like this is a refugee who cannot even speak English. They are in Uganda. And then you want them to have a sustainable life. And then you come in, teach them how to use a mobile phone, a smartphone. They know how to take pictures. They know how to make a recording, maybe a video. And then there are platforms that are hard to use. So you taught someone how to take a picture. Like this person is maybe 27 or 28, they've never held a smartphone. So to push on and then you teach them how to filter them, how to edit videos, it's so hard on them. And remember, the time you have with these people is so limited. Like you can have 2 hours with them a week, and that is all you have to train them. And you have to teach them how to post this, market themselves, and then get maybe a buyer out there or market their skill. You know, people even market their art. I mean, people know how to dance, people like do a lot of stuff. So like when you look at it, it's not like we are looking at Facebook as the only means, but like I mentioned at first, it is the easiest that anyone can relate with, that anyone can deal with. And I think it still has the highest number of users. I mean, look at me telling a mother of let me say a 5-year-old child with cerebral palsy, they can't move. The mother is 28, she's already frustrated, and then you're showing her Instagram. The moment she goes through her feed, her self-esteem itself will go low. She'll be like, am I worthy maybe of posting my doormat that I just made, when she looks at other products? So Facebook gives a more positive competitive environment, I may choose to put it. Yeah, so I maybe I need to look into more innovative ways that young people have looked at to market themselves and all that. Yeah, there's TikTok to begin with, but when you look at TikTok, it's lately more of challenges, and then you have to have the vibe, as they call it lately. So you need to do more, more into it. I don't mean to say that young people do not put in the energy, but I'll use myself in point. Yes, I use TikTok, but like I have to take time, I have to create content, I have to make it a bit entertaining, which not everyone has, which is a bit different with Facebook. I mean, you just wake up, you have your 5 or 3 statements, attach them to a post, have a picture, you attach your phone numbers, and you're really good to go. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much, Derek. That was quite elaborate. Lucky, let me come to you. I don't know how much you know about the legal framework of this country, but I've addressed my mind to some articles of the Constitution. And precisely, I'll go to Article 44, which talks about the non-derogable rights. And there are only 4. The right to habeas corpus, the right to a fair hearing, freedom from torture, and freedom from slavery. Those are non-derogable rights. What that means is that these rights are inherent. You know, they are given to us at birth. So it means that digital rights are actually not non-derogable rights in Uganda, at least. So what this means is that the state can choose to give you these rights when they feel it is convenient, and take away the same rights when they feel it is not convenient for you to have them. Or maybe when these rights tend to pose a threat to national security, as they have claimed in the past, or when these rights at times tend to infringe on the rights of others. So it looks like, yes, we are here agitating that, yes, we have digital rights, but if you go to the legal framework of it, Article 29 talks about the freedom to speech and the freedom to think and all that. But aren't we being overly ambitious to believe that our digital rights are fundamental and our right to access Facebook should be non-derogable, and it should be fundamental and it should be non-interrupted? What's your own view? I know you're not a lawyer, but just give us, do you think that your right to access Facebook is actually a fundamental human right? Or do you think that the farmers who you work with, their failure to access Facebook to transport their markets and to transport their goods and to market their goods and to access maybe transport online, do you think that exactly infringes on their human rights?
Yeah, thank you so much. According to my knowledge, the current law that we have regarding digital use, the computer misuse, whereby people abuse each other and all that, I really don't know why I'm using my platforms to market myself would be a threat or a hindrance to the government. It doesn't make sense. Honestly, it doesn't. The digital rights closely are linked to freedom of expression and privacy, and those that allow people to access, use, and create and publish digital media, as well as access the use of computers, other electronic devices, and communication networks. So really, this is just an extension of human rights, especially in this internet age. I don't still understand why, if I sell hay to a farmer, that cause a threat to a government. I mean, why would the government that wants me to grow, that wants me to be economically dependent, that wants me to progress, will stop me from selling milk on an app? That will stop me from selling milk using digital ways. Yet we are in a digital era where everything is online. I don't understand that. I really don't get it as a person. That is more of, but well, with our country, I don't want to go into the state of human rights in this country. We all know that. But it's a violation, a complete one and a full one. Because if I advertise online, I'm basically trying to reach out to many people. Just like, let me use just this talk itself. People are like, yeah, oh, you mean agriculture is now online? That's it. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to say, no, don't support this, be against the government, go against this. No, I'm trying to say, yeah, you can be home and dial this number and milk will be at your door. That's all I'm trying to say. And I don't know why I would be denied that. It doesn't make sense. Because really, I'm trying to give out services to the population, serving the world better. I'm actually trying to make this country better by making everyone access services. For example, Moses, you're busy in Kampala. I'm in Ushenya and you want to buy a cow. They're like, hey, hi, Lucky, I saw a cow on your post. Can you please, how can I get it in Kampala? And I'm like, yeah, you need to do this. I would have it on a track to your phone. How have I violated anyone's rights? So why should my rights to do that be violated with or be tampered with? That's what I don't understand. Yeah, over to you, Moses.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Lucky. Just as a follow-up, so can we say with certainty that the people who misuse these platforms are the ones who at times end up jeopardizing the whole thing for us? Those who go to Facebook to maybe hurl insults and then to use the derogating language or demeaning language, those few pocket cases, can we say that they are the ones who are affecting good people like Lucky, who actually intend to use Facebook for productive and economic purposes, but their aspirations are only frustrated by the few pocket cases who misuse these platforms, and therefore maybe forcing government to act the way they do? So can we then shift the blame to those people?
Really not about shifting blame, but what I would wish everyone did is to use these platforms responsibly. Because if I may remember before, what brought up the closure of Facebook was that people are giving out wrong information regarding the elections, especially. Now the election is past and we are done. Even the whoever was voted in is already sworn in. They are in government. Why can't we have the platforms back? It looks like some people take it personal. Like, okay, so your child did this to my child. Okay, now you will see. It really becomes so funny if we have to pay a crime, if the whole population has to pay a crime for one or two people that misuse the platform. We have many options, like let's say Twitter. Once you report account to Twitter, it's blocked and it's removed from Twitter. Why can't that option be used instead of breaking the whole cycle of many millions of people? Why can't you say, no, I don't like Lake's communication on Facebook, and this is the reason why? And the Facebook will look into my account and be like, oh yeah, Lake is misusing this platform. We are blocking only Lake, but not blocking Moses because of what Lake did. That doesn't make sense.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Let me go to Viola. Viola, hope you're still there with us.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, Viola, my question to you is, yes, you've mentioned to us, or you've described to us what you do, the businesses that you're involved in and the kind of work that you partake on a day-to-day basis. But I also know that government is moving towards e-governance, okay? They are taking most of the government services online. Government these days communicates most of their programs online. For example, the new list of RDCs and RCCs was released yesterday, but one online, okay? Even before the mainstream media like newspapers or even televisions like NBS, it was already available through online platforms like Twitter and, and these other social media platforms. So should we have some optimism that now that government is moving towards e-governance, they are going to prioritize the sector of technology, and therefore taxes, because if government wants to be effective at e-governance, then they should encourage more Ugandans to access online platforms. And what this means maybe is that they should reduce the taxes on data, or even unblock Facebook, once again. So should you have some hope now that our government is moving towards e-governance, should we have hope that media and digital platforms will be given more priority moving forward?
Thank you. Interestingly, I'll start off with what you asked earlier about innovation and why should actually Ugandans be relying on Facebook alone? Why can't we make our own? As an innovator and as somebody who has been in the digital innovation space for a while now, since 2018, I must say Ugandans are really doing what they can possibly do. But for me, when I link innovation, the willingness for people to innovate, and then what the government is actually doing, I get to wonder if the government is actually supporting innovators, because this is one way they can either benchmark on how best they can innovate, or use the platform that is specifically Facebook to reach out to wider people, to bigger markets and audiences, for people to consume the products or these innovations that they have innovated. So yes, government could be now embracing the digital spaces, but then I think for me, I will say it's double standards for the government to be blocking, to be imposing taxes on different digital channels, and then also act like they are embracing the digital spaces. Because when we look at, for example, the previous presidential communications that were made during the lockdown, I remember, I think I watched 90% of them off Facebook. And for me, it was convenient to have my phone and then be able to watch or follow whatever is being communicated, as opposed to being stationed behind a TV and I have to listen to whatever is being said. Even when you look at all that Ministry of Health communication, day-to-day communication that was being passed on about COVID, still a majority was shared on digital channels besides the other media and other platforms. So whereas government is using these digital platforms, I think it is playing some sort of double standards to be blocking a certain digital channel and then using other digital channels. So for me, the hope would come when we are free as entrepreneurs, as innovators, as citizens of Uganda, to be able to utilize these different digital platforms as long as people are respectfully using them, just like he said, so that people are respectfully making money, growing their businesses, growing their brands, and reaching to bigger and better markets. Currently, as a landlocked country, I don't think anybody should be thinking about on how to limit access to the wider market, to the global market, because digital channels are the easiest ways that people can communicate, that people can grow a market. And Uganda has a small population compared to other countries. Look at Kenya, look at Tanzania. We find that we are disadvantaged as business people or as entrepreneurs, and there isn't much we can do to grow Uganda, because Uganda is just what it is, unless we are going to, engage in wars and take on some parts of other countries. But Uganda as a country, the only way we can grow our market size is if we freely engage with people outside our geographic boundaries. And the easiest and cheapest way possible that we can do that is if the government unblocks platforms like Facebook, so that we are able to easily communicate with people, because digital platforms do not have any geographical boundaries on them. So it would be very important if the government does not get biased, does not have any stringent limitations on how people can utilize these digital platforms. And finally, to also mention, these different platforms have laws, have ways you can check people. So the government of Uganda should maybe contact them and say, we need this added to your rules and laws on how people can use your platform. But otherwise, most of these platforms already have these laws, and I think it would be very important if people are allowed their freedom to utilize these platforms. So for me, there is almost no hope until that time we are freely able to use Facebook at least. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Viola. You clearly have no optimism at all, but well, hopefully along the way, we shall become more optimistic as government, begins to address some of these concerns that we have as young people. Derek, let me come back to you. Derek, one of the key concerns around the world today is that information is one of the greatest assets that we have. Information it transcends borders. It moves across the world within a short period of time. And information can either make or break nations. That has been proven over time. When you look at the Second World War and how it came about, it was just a miscommunication between, certain dignitaries. So information by all means is very important. But let me come back to you as a person. You said you are a social media handler. I don't know if that means you also partake in the blogging aspect. I mean, like putting out blogs. Then if you do, I had a conversation with journalists a couple of days ago, and they told me that one of the key challenges that they're facing are bloggers, that bloggers are not quite professional, and therefore they end up doing what they termed as miscommunication and misleading the public, and therefore making this whole social media thing just an anarchy. There are no rules, no regulations. Everyone just puts out anything that they feel or they think about whether it is miscommunication or true or false, and that at some point affects the country because of the aspect of miscommunication. So if you are a blogger, Derek, do you agree that bloggers are unprofessional, and therefore they are causing this whole digital arena, making it a mess? Derek, over to you.
Oh, thank you for that. To begin with, I do not think professional. All right, so what I was saying is, we in Uganda, we tend to mistake social media users for being bloggers, for a fact. Yeah, so we need to know who a blogger is and who a social media user is. For example, I can write a lot of stuff, spread a lot of information about sexual reproductive health rights. So if I'm a blogger in that perspective of sexual reproductive health rights, or in gender-based violence, or in maybe disability, or in any way, or even in entertainment, I need to keep my thing going over time. But then there are people who come up today, they are writing on those social media platforms about gender-based violence. Tomorrow they are writing about celebrities. The other day they're writing about a lot of things. So that does not make them qualify as bloggers. Yes, there has been a lot of social media hatred. There has been a lot of hate speech. There has been a lot of misinformation spread out on social media that I do agree with. And then there has been a lot of bloggers who do that. For a fact, I think that is the job of the Uganda Communications Commission, to keep and do the sensitization. At a certain point, that is why they had come up with a certain amount that people need to pay if they want to become bloggers, if they are social media influencers. And for a fact, yes, the taxes were a bit high, and then it's us young people, we are being pushed up to the wall, but I was agreeing to it, but because it was good gatekeeping for all of us, but then I do agree, people do post a lot of misinformation. So it is the role of the Uganda Communications Commission to do the whole gatekeeping and to censor all this information, what people put out there. And it is your role as an individual who is on social media, receiving this information and digesting it within you, to do a lot of fact checks. I think the World Health Organization also did a lot of that. You needed to check yourself and know if people are talking ABC up to Z about COVID, is it true? So if you see people posting on social media, there are lots of videos that were very disheartening of people just fainting on the streets of Kampala, and it was not COVID, somewhere even tailored. So it caused a lot of panic. And then the World Health Organization was telling us, if you are seeing information out there, fact check. People were playing with numbers until a lot of traditional media houses, TVs, started putting numbers every after a bulletin, every after an hour. And that is the sort of gatekeeping and fact checking that I'm really talking about. Yes, it is true. There is a lot of misinformation on social media by bloggers, some of them, and then by social media users. But I would reach out to all bloggers out there. Please do not post things that are contradicting to the real facts about any situation out there. Is it politics? Is it businesses and all that? And there is even, when you come to this particular topic that we are talking about, people will post stuff on Facebook and then you will order for it, and they'll not send to you. There are people who are, for example, selling, is it what is it, those Yaka electricity units? So people fall for all that. So you need to fact check. You have to know that the only right place where I can find the Yaka unit is Umeme, the recognized thing. Before you make a transaction with a bank, you need to make your facts clear. If you see people saying, we are giving out quick loans, you have to send us this amount of money and then we give you quick loans, ask yourself, is this being posted by the bank where I hold my account? Or even when you receive a phone call, people have been doing all this. So as citizens of the country, we need to do fact checking. And then as the government, they need to empower more these stakeholders, to begin with the Uganda Communications Commission. Yes, I've seen them intervene in a lot of issues. I think they are not with bloggers. They've been with TV presenters who do a lot of entertainment stuff because they are the leaders of this misinformation. So someone wakes up and says, you know, Kidega, you're a witch. I know, I've seen you go to visit a shrine and all that. And this person has never seen you. So it's until you go and sue that the UCC will wake up and swing into action. So there is a lot of misinformation I agree with, but then I said to us, let's do the gatekeeping for ourselves. If you see something out on social media, do the fact checking, the fact finding, and know, is it true, is it false? And if you've not seen it in the news and you're seeing it on social media, then do not believe it. Then the UCC and all the other government institutions that are supposed to take care of these gatekeeping roles, they should swing into action and do what they are supposed to do.
All right, Derek, thank you very much. Lucky, let me come to you. I mean, Derek has somehow preempted my mind and my thinking, and he has forced me to go into the conversation of the roles and responsibilities and the mandate of government institutions like the Uganda Communications Commission and also Ministry of ICT, the role that they play towards regulating these digital platforms and this digital arena. So Derek did make a hint on it, but let me give you a chance to expand on it. Speak to the mandate of these regulating frameworks. Do you think that, one, they have overreached their mandate? Because there was a point in time when I remember UCC came out to say that before you go to maybe perform at a Chivulu, you know, for the musicians, you need to get clearance from them, you know, and then they have had certain controversial proposals that people really expressed their discomfort. And I think UCC didn't go further to implement them. So speak to the mandate and role of the Uganda Communications Commission. Because one of you earlier on mentioned that UCC needs to begin, you know, holding people strictly liable. That if Kidega posts something on his Facebook, UCC should be able to follow up on the particular person who has made that post, you know, and I don't want to say which hand, but to follow up and, you know, and indict an individual, you know, who misuses their platform. So it means that we are all agreeing that we should give UCC more mandate and we should empower it so that they can be able to investigate and bring such names to book. But also it looks like once we overgive them too much authority, then we might, I'm not sure how it will turn out, because if they have the capacity to know where every tweet is coming from, then I am not sure how much that will go towards abusing our privacy and our, you know, personal security as a people. So just enable us understand something around the mandate and role of regulating institutions like UCC and Ministry of ICT.
Thank you so much. Well, with Uganda, everything really sometimes looks confused and looks confusing. Sometimes it looks like UCC and the Ministry of ICT sometimes become emotional. They behave like a woman that will tell you, if you come back with the kavela, I'll serve your supper. Failure to do so, you won't. But even if you come back with the kavela, last time you came with 1 kg, today you've come, no, last time you came with 2 kg, today you've come back with 1 kg. So that means the treatment will reduce. I want to give you enough food like I did yesterday. Not that there is no food in the house, but because I'm being emotional on you. That is how sometimes it sounds with this country. I don't know whether we still have the rule of law in being followed, or we just wake up and you're like, yeah, I think I don't like Lucky. So I'm going to punish Lucky with all her relatives and her friends and everyone that knows Lucky. Because sometimes a musician, let me go to entertainment. A musician is allowed to perform and another one is banned. Yet when you hear from these musicians, they will tell you, I followed everything. I even reported to the police that I'm having a concert here. I followed all the procedures given to me, but still I was banned. Then you find there is one who came and actually performed automatically. When you dig deep, you're like, yeah, there is you know how Ugandans say there is a gambano somewhere. So if these entities don't come out straight and follow what they say, because they say do this, but then themselves go against that. If they don't come out straight and do as they are supposed to do, first of all, we have already lost trust in them, because we are not sure. We don't know what to trust, because what we have experienced before gives us this thing of, really, will this work? Or they will change it somewhere. I don't know why we can't follow the standards of other countries. If I violate, deal with me as an individual. Don't ban the whole thing because Lake violated or because you don't like Lake. But more in Uganda is about we are emotional, and we are trying to make all the systems emotional. The UCC is emotional, the ICT is emotional. So we are just there like, yeah, how did you do this? How did you do this against us? So we are now revenging. We live in an era of revenge instead of putting something straight that guides the nation for the better. If we are following these rules and regulations as citizens and going according to the laws set for us to follow, I don't know why the body setting these regulations still thinks that, okay, maybe we are not following them. We are like primary kids. You tell, make a straight line. After they make a straight line, then there's this one who comes out to peep at a friend. Then the head comes out of the line, like, and then you come and beat the head. They're like, why is your head out not in the line? That's how we are. That's how it feels like we are living in this country. If the law is clear and we are following the law, I don't know why we should be having all the things going around. Sure, because I
All
think
right. Okay. You can just conclude.
yes, I
Oh,
I think the constitution is clear. All I'm calling upon the implementers is to follow it and go according to it. That way, we shall all be in our lane. We shall all know what to do when and how to do it. Thank you.
all right. Thank you. Viola, let me come to you. Viola, Facebook, I am not sure if their their case is still in court, but a couple of years ago, Facebook was dragged to court, and they were accused for selling information or for mining data to the highest bidder, more so in terms of political players. So it looks like we are here clamoring to use Facebook, a platform which is having a court case and being accused for mining personal data. So are we having a guided agitation, or we are being naive to the fact that, yes, social media, whereas it is good, it has certain disadvantages. And at times it exposes us to insecurity and quite difficult situations. Like I've just told you, Facebook up to now, their case is still in court, you know, and all those accusations. So it looks like Facebook and other digital platforms are not exactly very safe, but we keep to clamor for them. So can we say that the advantages of using them outweigh the disadvantages? What is your own view, Viola?
I'm referring to an event in the US where the big digital platforms were called out, and that was in I think it was in 2021, and that was because one, most of them were not paying the actual taxes. Some of them were not paying taxes, and some of them were interfering with the elections, and the insecurities, especially in the young people, were increasing. And they said, or the US government says, they were not doing enough to protect the citizens. So yes, when we look at some of the bad things that come with social media, especially Facebook, we can choose to concentrate on the bad and say that the bad things do outweigh the good things. But in my opinion, with the right procedures, with the right guidance given to the users, I do think that social media does have a lot to contribute to the society, and also bring closer the different stakeholders of the economy together. So whereas there are people complaining about the use of social media, I think the society should focus on the good that come with the use of social media, and also look at how better as a society we can make using social media safe for people, and especially the young people, the people who are growing up, for the government to feel secure in its citizens using social media, because I know there is so much that can be sabotaged with national security through the use of social media, but also individual security through the use of social media, especially those who are always updating where they are, what they are up to, and some people even go ahead to, flaunt money on social media and say, oh, I have this with me. And there are lots and lots of things that come with the use of social media, but how are we looking at the use of social media as a society? Are we looking at how we can better ourselves as individuals and as a country? Or are we going to concentrate on the bad that people think come with social media usage, or people using social media? So there could be bad things, but I believe the good things do outweigh the bad things. And the bad things that are currently existing can be eliminated with guidance, with teachings, and also mentorship, especially to the young people. Thank you.
We are moving towards the end of this particular topic, but let me just tell you that we are still in the period where the country just lost its third in command, the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, rather, the late Right Honorable Jacob Lokorio Lanya. So towards the end, I will just give you all 2 minutes to just tell us what legacy this gentleman leaves behind in your own words. So towards the end, we shall spare some 2 minutes for all of us. But as of now, I want to invite you now to give us your concluding remarks regarding this particular topic, regarding the closure of Facebook, regarding digital rights in Uganda, and anything else that maybe you could have missed out on saying. So I'll begin with you, Viola, since you're already on. Give us your last words in 2 minutes. Then I'll go to Derek. Then I'll conclude with Lucky. Then we shall have a round in the same order regarding the legacy of the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. So, Viola, the floor is yours.
Thank you. In my conclusion about today's topic, the closure of Facebook, the government and the citizens together should be able to, one, advise the government that Facebook is good. Facebook is good to contribute to the revenue of the country and to contribute to individuals' revenue. And therefore, with it fully functional and open to citizens without them using VPN, without them going through other browsers, it will contribute to even the growth and development of this country. Two, Facebook helps entrepreneurs and innovators to showcase what they have made, and therefore other people and other markets are able to consume these products that entrepreneurs and innovators will have developed. Therefore, if the government is truly contributing and supporting innovators and entrepreneurs, as they've always said, it is my call and appeal that they should actually let people do use the Facebook that they have always used to market their goods without any limitations that are currently existing with the closure of Facebook. Lastly, Facebook helps our young entrepreneurs, young innovators and creatives to benchmark on what other countries are developing. If you get to different groups on Facebook, to different rooms and chat rooms and spaces, you will learn that there are different products that are being showcased. There are different exhibitions that can actually be carried out, especially especially like in India. I see lots of Indians posting different live feeds of the products that are being made. So we as Ugandans, we as entrepreneurs, Uganda being one of the fastest growing entrepreneurship economies or entrepreneurial countries, I think our government should look at the positives that come with entrepreneurs accessing Facebook. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. Derek, the floor is yours.
So I'd like to summarize and begin with so about everything. I'll just give you guys a couple tips. Number one, do two-step verifications for all your accounts because they can easily be hacked. And to like express ourselves, to promote our products. It's employment to many young people out there. It is a market space for many farmers, for many teachers, for people in different professions. And it has been advocating for inclusive participation of people on different digital platforms. It has helped us in the organization to disseminate information, and it is a form of resource and and so the earlier the better to it, because we need it in our day.
Okay, Derek, we are really struggling with getting you. Let me go to Lucky. Lucky, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Moses. My colleagues have said it all. My appeal to the government is that please let us have the freedom to use the digital spaces, because it may not be our inborn right, but we deserve to be on the digital market since we are in the internet age. Let it be a gift to us as an extension of our human rights. And I appeal to the citizens out there, please, whenever you're in position to use the social media platforms, use them responsibly for the sanity of the nation, for the sanity of the country, and for the good of all of us. To my fellow entrepreneurs, please, let us step out. Let us occupy the space that is available. There's a lot we can do with the mobile phones to start with. Now let us occupy those spaces so that by the time we are back on Facebook fully, we can easily transition. Thank you so much. For God and my
Lucky,
country.
just stay on before you can wish us a goodbye. Let me just begin with you regarding the legacy of the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. What shall you remember most about him?
Wow, I think I have I remember him as a happy man. What stands out for me about him, I know he's a good legislator, he's informed, he's all that, he would control the house to the maximum. But what stands out for me about him is that BMW motorbike. When I was on, I was like, oh, I'll miss him. He was so
Wow.
good, and he's a good, I hope and I pray that we get a speaker who is as accurate and informed as he was. May his soul rest in peace.
Oh, wow. Very interesting memories over there. The BMW bike and the bow ties. Viola, the floor is yours.
I think for me, what stands out is the fact that he must be one of the few. Okay, he's the only one I know that does use to ride a bike as a leader. Others are against such means of transport, borders, bikes. So for me, that's what stands out. And as somebody who used to work closely with Motocross Uganda, I do love bikes. So that is the only outstanding thing on a personal level that was about the late Speaker Olanya Jacob. The rest, I think, are what people have said: a good legislator, a good leader, a people-centered person. And some people have also mentioned him as a great lecturer. those that he taught. But personally, is the fact that a leader in his position and in Uganda to be riding a bike is just incredible. May his soul rest in peace.
Yeah, sure. So many good memories there about the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. We continue to pray that his soul continues to rest in eternal peace. From us to you, I want to say thank you to all the panelists. Thank you very much, Comrade Viola. Thank you very much, Comrade Derek, for sparing the time. Thank you very much, Comrade Lucky. You've all been an amazing panel. I am very sure and confident that our viewers have learned a lot from you, and as so have I. I've learned something, one or two from you people. From me to you, I wish all the viewers a happy week. Enjoy the rest of your week, and thank you very much for joining us on the community show. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to put your comments on the comment section. And from me to you, bye-bye. Have a lovely week.